Here's a number that stops most people cold. If you want to retire and spend $5,000 a month, you don't need $5,000 saved. You need somewhere around $1.5 million. And if your first reaction is, well, that's impossible, so why bother, stay with me, because that reaction is exactly the trap. In the next 10 minutes I'm going to show you the actual math behind that number, why it's smaller than it looks, and the one shortcut that does more for your retirement than any stock pick ever will. Financial planners have a rule of thumb called the 4% rule. The idea is simple: in retirement, you can withdraw about 4% of your savings in the first year, adjust it for inflation each year after, and your money should last roughly 30 years. Flip that around and you get an even simpler shortcut. Whatever you want to spend per year, multiply it by 25. That's your target. So $60,000 a year in spending, times 25, is $1.5 million. That's where our scary number came from. Now, here's where I'll give you my honest opinion, because most videos won't. The 4% rule is a starting point, not a law of physics. It was built on very conservative, worst-case assumptions from decades of U.S. market history. Plenty of retirees can safely spend a bit more, some in rough markets need to spend a bit less. Treat 25 times as a target on the horizon, not a locked gate you're either inside or outside of. Here's the part that quietly shrinks that $1 million figure, and almost no scary number video mentions it. You are probably not funding your entire retirement out of savings. Social Security pays for a big chunk of it. Let's redo the math honestly. Say you want $6,000 a month to live on. If Social Security covers, let's say, $2,200 of that, then your savings only has to produce the other $3,800. Run that through our shortcut. $3,800 a month is $45,600 a year, times 25, is about $1.1 million. Still a big number, but we just knocked hundreds of thousands of dollars off the target by remembering income you've already spent a career paying into. And when you claim matters enormously. Claim Social Security at 62 and you lock in just 70% of your full benefit, permanently. Wait until 70 and you get about 124%. That is a swing of more than 50% on a check you'll cash for the rest of your life, just from timing. Now for the part that should actually make you feel better. That 1.1 million figure is not money you have to save out of your paycheck. A huge share of it is growth you never earned at a job. Here's the mechanism, and it's the most important idea in this whole video. Money you invest doesn't grow in a straight line. It grows on top of its own growth. The gains from year 1 start producing their own gains in year 2. That's compounding, and it does something that feels almost unfair the longer it runs. Picture someone who invests $500 a month starting at age 40. Over 25 years that's $150,000 of their own money going in. But at a historically ordinary 7% average return, they'd retire with roughly $400,000. More than half of that pile, the money they'll actually live on, was never subtracted from a single paycheck. The market built it. That's the real answer to, how much do I need to save? You don't need to save your whole retirement. You need to save the seed and give it time. So if you take one thing from this video, don't make it a fun name. Make it this: the amount you contribute matters far more than which investment you pick. And the US tax code hands you a genuinely huge lever here, one that got bigger this year. In 2026, you can put up to $24,500 into a 401k. And if you're 50 or older, you get a catch-up. On top, bringing it to $32,500. Here's my point of view on that catch-up: it exists specifically for people who feel behind. The government wrote a rule that says, if you got a late start, you're allowed to shovel money in faster. That is not a consolation prize. For someone who's 50 with less saved than they'd like, that higher limit plus 15 more years of compounding is the single most powerful tool on the table. Most people never touch it because nobody told them it was there. Let's put it together into something you can do in 60 seconds. 1. Take your honest monthly spending in retirement. 2. subtract a rough Social Security estimate, you can pull your real one free from the SSA website. 3. Multiply what's left, per year, by 25. That's your target. Not a scary headline number, a personal one, usually far smaller than the internet's favorite $1 million figure. And if the gap between that number and where you are today looks big, remember what we just proved, most of the distance gets covered by growth and by Social Security, not by heroic saving. Your job is to start feeding the machine and to use the catch-up room the tax code is holding open for you. Quick reminder before you go, this is education, not financial advice. Your situation is yours, and a one-time chat with a fee-only advisor is worth it before any big move. If this made the math feel less scary, I broke down exactly how to catch up from a late start in another video right here. That's the natural next step.